Hi everyone! So today I'm going to do a quick rundown of vitamin D supplementation in cold and flu prevention. I'm going to try and keep this one short and to the point because I think it's probably a lot easier to listen to and probably a lot easier to digest and absorb. And as always, this is my personal opinion only and it does not constitute medical advice. So it is for informational purposes only. Sometimes the information changes. If I come across anything new, I will update it down below. Okay, so to make a long story short, they did a meta-analysis of randomized placebo-controlled double-blind studies, and I have my notes here, so every time I look down, I'm looking down at my notes, of more than 11,000 patients, and they saw that vitamin D supplementation in amongst those with baseline circulating 25 hydroxy vitamin D levels less than 25 nanomole per liter. They saw statistically significant finding. Their respiratory tract infection rates had reduced by 40%. And there was no statistically significant effect among those with baseline circulating levels of 25 or more nanomole per liter. They also saw that bolus dosing was not a good idea because it did not report statistically significant findings, so daily or weekly dosing of vitamin D is better. And then another study I was looking at, they saw that the group that supplemented with vitamin D had a 25% reduction in infectious scores. The infectious score consisted of a total score for airway, malaise, ear symptoms, sinus symptoms, and antibiotic use. So a 25% reduction, to me it sounded like if you're gonna get 3 colds a year, now you're gonna get like 2.25. But actually what was driving the 25% reduction in that group was not the airway, malaise, ear, sinus symptoms. Those actually did not show statistically significant finding for patients who supplemented with vitamin D. But the patients who took vitamin D had a 60% less need for antibiotic use. So even though we saw no symptom reduction in, airway, ear, sinus symptom score in this particular study, there was a less need for antibiotic use, so that is something. And so in my opinion, for the average adult, it makes sense to supplement with something like 1,000 IU vitamin D per day. If you're low, it's going to help get you to that level that we want. If you're already at that level that we want, the 1,000 IU vitamin D per day will help keep you at that maintenance level. So if you are getting some blood work done at some point in the future, I would be curious to know what my vitamin D levels are. If you're curious as well, that would be something to do. There is, a point to be made about getting the vitamin D level tested. The one point is that if you are quite low, they will supplement with much higher doses short term to get you to that maintenance level, and then they will, supplement with a daily maintenance dose. In the meantime, for the average adult, it wouldn't hurt to start supplementing with 1,000 IU vitamin D per day. And for the average child, it also makes sense to supplement based on some of the research, just to meet their daily recommended requirement. There's some people that do like 5,000 IU vitamin D per day because they've read somewhere that that's what you should do based on X, Y, and Z, but they've never actually been tested to see if their vitamin D levels are low or not. So if you haven't been tested for your vitamin D levels and you're doing 5,000, more, I'd say more than 2,000 IU vitamin D per day, please stop it. And so if you wanted to continue that dose, just please do a vitamin D level testing just to make sure you're not at a good level. And if you're doing 5,000 IU per day, that could get you up to a toxic level. So yeah, we've said for the average adult, it would be worth it in my opinion to supplement with say 1,000 IU vitamin D per day. For the average child, based on their age, it would make sense for them to supplement to meet their recommended daily requirement. Some people might wonder if there's a particular product I would recommend. To be honest, there isn't. As long as you can find a vitamin D3, you should be fine. There is a site that has reviewed certain supplements for vitamin D. Some of the brands that got a better rating were Now Foods, Kirkland, and Nordic Naturals. So if there's any of these three that you're familiar with, then you can go ahead and buy, the vitamin D supplement from that brand. Again, if that changes, I'll update it. So that's it for this one. If you have any questions, please comment below and let me know. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention, for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.